So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about mini planning compositions. So a mini planning composition is basically what it sounds like. It is a small composition that we use to plan out ideas for a work of art. Sometimes it is to gather ideas and think about what it is you really want to paint. Sometimes it's more formal. You've already got the idea, but you really want to work out some of the details before you go and make a very large composition, which will take a much more significant amount of time. So you can see that each of these mini compositions is pretty tiny. They're about 3 inches by 3 inches, or the size of a Post-it note. So these are all square. Now, depending on your final piece, you may want to adjust that. So they're obviously small, but they also include a lot of detail, including color. So while they are mini planning compositions, it is a place to create a painting where you're thoroughly working out your ideas. So I'm just going to show you some more examples, and then I'll show you of how I took one of these mini compositions and used it to guide a final piece of work. So here we see some more of my mini compositions. You can see some notes on the sides about some ideas I had. And what I want you to notice is that from this, you're going to see a change between this one and my final one. So in this one, I'm working out my colors, thinking about the technique. Do I want to adjust it? And then what I'm doing is once I finished this mini composition, I'm going back in and using that to guide a final composition. So you can see that there's been a change from this one to this one, but you can still see many of the same elements from this mini composition were applied to the composition I have here. So let's get started laying out a mini composition in your visual journal. It's going to be pretty fast and pretty easy. You're going to need a ruler and a pencil, and of course you're going to need your visual journal. So you're going to grab your visual journal. You can turn your visual journal either direction you want. I'm just going to turn it this way for now. And we are going to set up just a very simple box for a mini composition. Now, if you don't have a ruler, you can estimate this. It does not have to be perfect. As you know, I do not have a problem with you using things like Post-it notes or Duplo blocks, whatever you need to set this up. So I'm just gonna measure out 2 inches on my ruler, and then I'm gonna come down here from the side, and we're gonna go, I think, 2 by 4 for this, and go ahead in. And so I'm using more of a rectangular shape for this one because I know that when I do this final painting, I'm gonna be doing it on a rectangular piece of paper. So that allows me to kind of keep the same dimensions as I transfer my ideas from my mini composition to my final artwork. So this one's looking a little bit big to me. We'll narrow this down to 2 by 3. And again, this is planning, right? So when we do something and we look at it and it's not working for us, as artists, it's important for us to go back in and make adjustments. That's what we do. We refine our work based off of what we're seeing and we make adjustments. Really, that's an important skill to have in anything that you're doing. Okay, so now I've just got this very tiny rectangle to work within. Now, this rectangle can be left going portrait style, okay? So like if you go to print a piece of paper on the computer, it'll say portrait, or I can turn it so that it's landscape orientation this way. And now what you're gonna do is you're gonna plan out your ideas following the criteria for the assignment in this little area, add color, draw it all out, get those ideas worked out, and then you're gonna start work on your final one. Before you start work on your final one though, you're gonna bring this mini composition to class, and we're gonna give you feedback, suggestions, ideas. We'll talk about what's working well and areas for improvement. And of course, as always, if you have questions, come to class prepared to ask them. All right, see you soon.